The Urantia book, Section 2, The Local Universe, Paper 35. The Local Universe, Sons of God. The Sons of God, previously introduced, have had a paradise origin. They are the offspring of the divine rulers, the universal domains of the first paradise order of sonship, the Creator Sons. There is in Nebadon only one, Michael, the universe father and sovereign of the second order of paradise sonship. The Avonal or Magisterial Sons. Nebadon has its full quota of 1062, and these so-called lesser Christs are just as effective and all-powerful in their planetary bestowals as was the Creator and Master Son, or on Urantia. The third order, being of Trinity origin, do not register in a local universe, but I estimate there are in Nebadon between 15 and 20,000 Trinity Teacher Sons, exclusive of 9,642 creature-trinitized assistants of record. These Paradise Daynals are neither magistrates nor administrators, they are superteachers. The types of sons about to be considered are of local universe origin. They are the offspring of a paradise creator in varied association with the complemental universe mother spirit. The following orders of local universe sonship find mention in these narratives. 1. Melchizedek Sons. 2. Vorondadek Sons. 3. Lanonandek Sons. And 4. Life Carrier Sons. And in actuality, we humans here on Urantia, we are actually the creational effort, and thus the creational children, better said, coming from the Paradise Creator Son Michael, whom we know as Jesus of Nazareth, and the local universe Mother Spirit. They have created us. And they have created all the animals and everything that we see, because they are the creators of this local universe Nebadon. I oftentimes repeat the already knowing information. It's not only for my brain, but it's good to get repetition so that you get to understand better how this local universe is functioning. Triune paradise deity functions for the creation of three orders of sonship: the Michaels, the Avonals, and the Daynals. Dual deity in the local universe: the Son and the Spirit, and the Spirit here is mentioned the Mother Spirit, the universe Mother Spirit. also functions in the creation of three high orders of sons: the Melchizedeks, the Forondadeks, and the Lanonandeks. And having achieved this threefold expression, they collaborate with the next level of God the Sevenfold in the production of the versatile order of life carriers. These beings are classified with the descending sons of God, but they are a unique and original form of universe life. Their consideration will occupy the whole of the next paper. 1. The Father Melchizedek. After bringing into existence the beings of personal aid, such as the bright and morning star, and other administrative personalities, in accordance with the divine purpose and creative plans of a given universe, there occurs a new form of creative union between the Creator Son and the creative spirit, which is the local universe Mother Spirit, the local universe daughter of the infinite spirit. So the local universe Mother Spirit is an offspring of the infinite spirit, and the infinite spirit is the third source and center of the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. And the Holy Trinity is God the Father, God the Eternal Son, and God the Infinite Spirit. And Jesus is not part of the Trinity because he comes forth from the Eternal Son. He is a creation of the Eternal Son. Actually, he is created by the combining efforts between God the Father and God the Eternal Son. From there, the Paradise Creator Sons are being birthed through the Eternal Son. And so Jesus is a Paradise Creator Son whose actual name is Michael, because he comes from the order of Michael. It's a whole order of Paradise Creator Sons whom are able to create their own unique universe in togetherness with their partner, whom is a daughter of the Infinite Spirit, who's actually the offspring of the Infinite Spirit is the local universe Mother. Better said, the universe Mother Spirit, which becomes local universe Mother Spirit because she is a daughter. And so you can say that each Michael is married with a daughter of the Infinite Spirit. And in togetherness they create their own universe. The personality offspring resulting from this creative partnership is the original Melchizedek, the Father Melchizedek, that unique being who subsequently collaborates with the Creator Son and the Creative Spirit to bring into existence the entire group of that name. So the Melchizedek order is a creation created by combining effort of the Melchizedek Father with the Paradise Creator Son and with the Creative Spirit, the local universe Mother Spirit. So it's an effort of three beings. In the universe of Nebadon, the Father Melchizedek acts as the first executive associate of the bright and morning star, who is Gabriel. Gabriel is a bright and morning star. Gabriel is occupied more with universe policies, Melchizedek with practical procedures. Gabriel presides over the regularly constituted tribunals and councils of Nebadon. Melchizedek over the special, extraordinary, and emergency commissions and advisory bodies. So, when the Lucifer rebellion started here on Urantia, and it started, to be more precise, in the system headquarters of this world Urantia, which is Satania. Lucifer was the system sovereign of Satania. And if things are happening in a world planet, then a commission of Melchizedek's, that's a specific emergency commission, so to speak, goes then to that world to see what is going on, what the damage is, and to bring out a report to the master sovereign ruler of that local universe. And then in togetherness they will see then, okay, what is the next step that we need to do to cancel this outcome and to repair the damage, so to speak, in this world. Gabriel and the Father Melchizedek are never away from Selfington at the same time, for in Gabriel's absence the Father Melchizedek functions as the chief executive of Nebadon. So if Michael is not there, then Gabriel takes over temporarily, and then if Gabriel is not able to do so, then Father Melchizedek is taking, for the time being, control over the whole business. Because you need to see that a universe is as a big company, it's a business, and in this company there are a lot of worlds, and these worlds, you can see them as so-called departments of the business. And sometimes the business owner, so to speak, needs to have its trips outside and needs to go, in this case Michael sometimes needs to go to the central universe and to speak with those in high function about how the things are going, and Michael also has to sometimes bring report out of what is going on in his universe, and also to see if everything that is going on is still in alignment with the Paradise Father. And if he's not there, then Gabriel takes over for the time that Michael is not able to run the business himself in this local universe Nebadon. The Melchizedeks of our universe were all created within 1 millennial period of standard time by the Creator Son and the Creative Spirit in liaison with the Father Melchizedek, being an order of sonship wherein one of their own number functioned as coordinate creator. Melchizedeks are in constitution partly of self-origin, and therefore candidates for the realization of a supernal type of self-government. They periodically elect their own administrative chief for a term of 7 years of standard time, and otherwise function as a self-regulating order. though the original Melchizedek does exercise certain inherent co-parental prerogatives. From time to time, this Father Melchizedek designates certain individuals of his order to function as special life carriers to the Midsonite worlds, a type of inhabited planet not heretofore revealed on Urantia. So the life carriers are actually individuals from the Melchizedek order. The Melchizedeks do not function extensively outside the local universe, except when they are called as witnesses in matters pending before the tribunals of the super-universe, and when designated special ambassadors, as they sometimes are, representing one universe to another in the same super-universe. The original or firstborn Melchizedek of each universe, so this means each universe has its Melchizedek. So each local universe has its Melchizedek. So you can now see that everything is a copy, so to speak. The pattern of Urantia, on which Urantia as world is built upon, is the same as from the paradise itself. And many times, if you are listening quite well, then you hear me reading projected. So they project also things into creation. I must say that this idea of projection already came on my path 25 years ago in a certain form of information, but anyways, that is a side thing of mine. But what I want to say is here that all local universes have the same construct and the same building up procedure, so they're not in that sense different from each other. What can be different is the way the sovereign ruler is ruling its universe. That is a bit different. Some can like the Michael that is ruling and is our sovereign ruler of this local universe, Nebadon. He is having more the essence of the eternal Son. Some can have more the essence of the Paradise Father. So that is why I'm saying that the difference is only laid in how the sovereign ruler of each local universe is ruling its own local universe. Sorry, it's early in the morning. So that's the only difference, but the whole setup, so to speak, the whole foundation, you can say the whole blueprint, is for each and every local universe the same. So they have a Paradise Creator Son Michael as sovereign ruler. They all have a Melchizedek Father and thus a Melchizedek order. They all have a bright and morning star, a Gabriel. They all have a Emmanuel, which is the union of days. They all have a local universe mother spirit that is the partner of the Paradise Creator Son Michael. So that is the blueprint, stays the same. The only difference is laid in the way each local universe is being ruled by their Paradise Creator Son Michael. So again, the original or firstborn Melchizedek of each universe is always at liberty to journey to the neighboring universes or to paradise on missions having to do with the interests and duties of his order. And I want to go a little bit back to the time of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were material son and daughter. They were also bestowals. What really happened in the first Garden of Eden was that Adam and Eve, due to their own impatience, because they were eventually, better said, eventually they became very impatient with the human race, because in their opinion the human race was very slow in their progression. And this material son and daughter couple, they had a whole plan to unfold, and yeah, they didn't know that the human race was progressing utterly slow, and this caused tremendous impatience. And it is the impatience that caused actually the default in the entire mission of Adam and Eve, which resulted in breaking you can say the covenant between them and the Melchizedeks, and between them and the Paradise Creator Son Michael of this local universe. So that actually happened. There has never been a downfall of humanity. That is a story that is being told in the Bible. The Bible lacks a lot of in-depth background information. So this whole idea of the fall of man, and because of the fall of man, man became beasts and whatever. Man is created out of a lemur species. We will later on come into that if we go into part 3. That's all about the history of Urantia, and then we also come into the history of the creation story of humanity. But the Melchizedeks had a covenant between Adam and Eve, and this same covenant was also signed by the Paradise Creator Son Michael of this local universe Nebadon, who later became for Urantians known as Jesus of Nazareth. Point 2. The Melchizedek sons. The Melchizedeks are the first order of divine sons in approach sufficiently near the lower creature life to be able to function directly in the ministry of mortal uplift, to serve the evolutionary races without the necessity of incarnation. So they were bestowals. Melchizedeks are bestowals. That means they can come and go without having to be born as a hopeless babe, or helpless babe, I mean, as a helpless babe, and being birthed through a woman. So they are also bestowals. They can come and go. These sons are naturally at the midpoint of the great personality descent, by origin being just about midway between the highest divinity and the lowest creature life of will endowment. They thus become the natural intermediaries between the higher and divine levels of living existence and the lower, even the material forms of life on the evolutionary worlds. The seraphic orders, the angels, delight to work with the Melchizedeks. In fact, all forms of intelligent life find in these sons understanding friends, sympathetic teachers, and wise counselors. The Melchizedeks are a self-governing order. With this unique group, we encounter the first attempt at self-determination on the part of a local universe. Beings and observe the highest type of true self-government. These sons organize their own machinery for their group and home planet administration, as well as that for the 6 associated spheres in their tributary worlds. And it should be recorded that they have never abused their prerogatives. Not one throughout all the super universe of Orphanton, which this local universe Nebadon is part of, and thus Urantia is part of, we are connected to the 7th super universe that is named Orphanton. Have these Melchizedek sons ever betrayed their trust? They are the hope of every universe group which aspires to self-government. They are the pattern and the teachers of self-government to all the spheres of Nebadon. All orders of intelligent beings, superiors from above and subordinates from below, are wholehearted in their praise of the government of the Melchizedeks. The Melchizedek order of sonship occupies the position and assumes the responsibility of the eldest son in a large family. Most of their work is regular and somewhat routine, but much of it is voluntary and altogether self-imposed. A majority of the special assemblies which, from time to time, convene on Selfington are called on motion of the Melchizedeks. On their own initiative, these sons patrol their native universe. They maintain an autonomous organization devoted to universe intelligence, making periodical reports to the Creator Son, independent of all information coming up to universe headquarters through the regular agencies concerned with the routine administration of the realm. They are by nature unprejudiced observers. They have the full confidence of all classes of intelligent beings. The Melchizedeks function as mobile and advisory review courts of the realms. These universe sons go in small groups to the worlds to serve as advisory commissions, to take depositions, to receive suggestions, and also to act as counselors, thus helping to compose the major difficulties and settle the serious differences which arise from time to time in the affairs of the evolutionary domains. These eldest sons of a universe are the chief aides of the bright and morning star, and this is Gabriel, in carrying out the mandates of the Creator Son. So you can also speak of that they are the right hand of the Creator's Son. When a Melchizedek goes to a remote world in the name of Gabriel, he may, for the purposes of that particular mission, be deputized in the name of the sender, and in that event will appear on the planet of assignment with the full authority of the bright and morning star. So then they get the full authority to do their things as Gabriel would do them if he would have been assigned to that particular planet or world. But due to the fact that Gabriel sometimes is not able to come there by himself, he gives authority to the Melchizedeks to handle as he would handle the case himself if he would be there. That is what is being said here. Especially is this true on those spheres where a higher son has not yet appeared in the likeness of the creatures of the realm. When a creator son enters upon the bestowal career on an evolutionary world, he goes alone, but when one of his paradise brothers, an Avonal son, enters upon a bestowal, he is accompanied by the Melchizedek supporters, 12 in number, also known as the 12 Melchizedek sons. So if we get a magisterial son, this son will be accompanied by 12 Melchizedeks, who so efficiently contribute to the success of the bestowal mission. They also support the Paradise Avonals on magisterial missions to the inhabited worlds. And in these assignments, the Melchizedeks are visible to mortal eyes, if the Avonal Son is also thus manifest. In the Bible it is mentioned about a Melchizedek, but the Bible lacks to tell us who this Melchizedek is. And this Melchizedek has only 3 times a short, you can say the Bible spends just 3 very short moments to this Melchizedek, and this is incorrect to do so. The Melchizedek that is mentioned in the Bible is Magiventa Melchizedek, and he also is one of those who brought an epical revelation. The first revelation that has came to us came through our former planetary prince Caligastia. So he also brought the plan of God and also brought the information and thus revelation to the children of Urantia, that they are children of God, that they have sonship in God, and that the plan of God is to create a brotherhood of man based on the foundation of the fatherhood of God. That was the first revelation. Then the second time of revelation came from the Edenic pair, Adam and Eve, the magisterial, not the magisterial, the material son and daughter. The third time of epical revelation came from this Magiventa Melchizedek. The fourth time that God gave us the revelation came through Jesus of Nazareth, who is in actuality our Paradise Creator Son, Master Sovereign Ruler of this local universe, Nebadon. And the fifth epical revelation that is from which I am reading from. That is the Urantia book itself. I do not see it as a book as such. I see it as a travel guide that can prepare us for the next step in our path of ascension to paradise. And so this Magiventa Melchizedek also was a way shower before Jesus could come, before Michael, better said, before Paradise, Creator Son, Michael could fulfill his last bestowal here on Urantia. Before he came, Melchizedek, Magiventa Melchizedek, was the way shower. And so Magiventa Melchizedek also brought this revelation about God, whom God is, that God is a nice and friendly, loving Father, and that all children are his children, and so on, so on. Another thing that this Magiventa Melchizedek also brought on Urantia is some teachings. The teachings of Salem. Salem means peace. Jerusalem, city of peace. These teachings, some of the leftovers, so to speak, you can find them in the Vedic texts. Some also you can find in Buddhism, but from what I came to understand in the Western world, many of the Melchizedek teachings are actually not there anymore. And this could also maybe explain the reason why some people are very attracted to Buddhism and the Vedics and so on. Could be that deep down in them is something that knows that there are some teachings of Magiventa Melchizedek left in these it's not really religion, but culture. This also explains why all the world religions have an almost exact base fundament in their religion. And if you go to the audio video about world religions, then you can hear this, that every world religion has a more or less same basic understanding of whom God is. The formulation can be different sometimes, but this explains why in all the cultures God the Father is almost exactly understood, almost in the same way understood. So that is because of the missionaries of Magiventa Melchizedek. There is no phase of planetary spiritual need to which they do not minister. They are the teachers who so often win whole worlds of advanced life to the final and full recognition of the Creator Son and his Paradise Father. The Melchizedeks are well nigh perfect in wisdom, but they are not infallible in judgment. When detached and alone on planetary missions, they have sometimes erred in minor matters. That is, they have elected to do certain things which their supervisors did not subsequently approve. Such an error of judgment temporarily disqualifies a Melchizedek until he goes to Selfington and, in audience with the Creator Son, receives that instruction which effectually purges him of the disharmony which caused disagreement with his fellows, and then, following the correctional rest, reinstatement to surface and shoes on the third day. But these minor misadaptations in Melchizedek function have rarely occurred in Nebadon. These sons are not an increasing order. Their number is stationary. Although varying in each local universe, the number of Melchizedeks of record on their headquarters planet in Nebadon is upward of 10 million. Point 3. The Melchizedek worlds. The Melchizedeks occupy a world of their own near Selfington, the universe headquarters. This sphere by name Melchizedek, so the sphere is also called Melchizedek, is the pilot world of the Selfington circuit of 70 primary spheres, each of which is encircled by 6 tributary spheres devoted to specialized activities. These marvelous spheres, 70 primaries and 420 tributaries, are often spoken of as the Melchizedek University. Ascending mortals from all the constellations of Nebadon pass through training on all the 490 worlds in the acquirement of residential status on Selfington. So we are going through each of these Melchizedek training centers, worlds. So now you can imagine, hopefully, that your ascension journey is a long journey and takes thousands, if not some couple of million years to eventually step into paradise. But the education of ascenders is only one phase of the manifold activities taking place on the Selfington cluster of architectural spheres. The 490 spheres of the Selfington circuit are divided into 10 groups, each containing 7 primary and 42 tributary spheres. Each of these groups each of these groups is under the general supervision, of some one of the major orders of universe life. The first group, embracing the pilot world and the next 6 primary spheres in the encircling planetary procession, is under the supervision of the Melchizedeks. The Melchizedek worlds are 1. The pilot world, the home world of the Melchizedek Sons. 2. The world of the physical life schools and the laboratories of living energies. 3. The world of Urantia life. 4. The sphere of initial spirit life. 5. The world of mid-spirit life. And then 6. The sphere of advancing spirit life. And 7. The domain of coordinate and supreme self-realization. The 6 tributary worlds of each of these Melchizedek spheres are devoted to activities germane to the work of the associated primary sphere. The pilot world, the sphere Melchizedek, is the common meeting ground for all beings who are engaged in educating and spiritualizing the ascending mortals of time and space. To an ascender, this world is probably the most interesting place in all Nebadon. All evolutionary mortals who graduate from their constellation training are destined to land on Melchizedek. So we first go through constellation training, where they are initiated into the regime of the disciplines and spirit progression of the Selfington educational system. And never will you forget your reactions to the first day of life on this unique world. Not even after you have reached your paradise destination. Ascending mortals maintain residence on the Melchizedek world while pursuing their training on the 6 encircling planets of specialized education. And this same method is adhered to throughout their sojourn on the 70 cultural worlds, the primary spheres of the Selfington circuit. Many diverse activities occupy the time of the numerous beings who reside on the 6 tributary worlds of the Melchizedek sphere, but as concerns the ascending mortals, these satellites are devoted to the following special phases of study. 1. Sphere number 1 is occupied with the review of the initial planetary life of the ascending mortals. This work is carried on in classes composed of those who hail from a given world of mortal origin. Those from Urantia pursue such an experiential review together. Two, the special work of sphere number 2 consists in a similar review of the experiences passed through on the mentioned worlds encircling the premier satellite of the local system headquarters. And then 3, the reviews of this sphere pertain to the sojourn on the capital of the local system and embrace the activities of the remainder of the architectural worlds of the system headquarters cluster. And then 4th, the 4th sphere is occupied with a review of the experiences of the 70 tributary worlds of the constellation and of their associated spheres. And 5, on the 5th sphere there is conducted the review of the ascendant sojourn on the constellation headquarters world. 6, the time on sphere number 6 is devoted to an attempt to correlate these 5 epochs and thus achieve coordination of experience preparatory to entering the Melchizedek primary schools of universe training. The schools of universe administration and spiritual wisdom are located on the Melchizedek homeworld, where also are to be found those schools devoted to a single line of research, such as energy, matter, organization, communication, records, ethics, and comparative creature existence. In the Melchizedek College of Spiritual Endowment, all orders, even the Paradise orders of the Sons of God, cooperate with the Melchizedek and the Seraphic teachers in training the host or the hosts who go forth as evangels of destiny. and whom these evangels of destiny are, we will know later on. Proclaiming spiritual liberty and divine sonship even to the remote worlds of the universe. This particular school of the Melchizedek University is an exclusive universe institution. Student visitors are not received from other realms. The highest course of training in universe administration is given by the Melchizedeks on their home world. This college of high ethics is presided over by the original father Melchizedek. And this means that our sovereign ruler, Michael of Nebadon, whom we know as Jesus of Nazareth, he also has been for quite some time part of the Melchizedek order world and has walked through it too. So that's why how he knows what it is to be a Melchizedek. He has been one of them. And in the Bible it's mentioned that we are part of the Melchizedek priesthood. I think this is also a misinterpretation done, and I think this has not really to do with the original background of the Melchizedek. But I will find out later on in when I pick up the life and teachings of Jesus again. It is to these schools that the various universes send exchange students, while the young universe of Nebadon stands low in the scale of universes as regards spiritual achievement and high ethical development. Nevertheless, our administrative troubles have so turned the whole universe into a vast clinic for other nearby creations that the Melchizedek colleges are thronged with student visitors and observers from other realms. Besides the immense group of local registrants, there are always upward of 100,000 foreign students in attendance upon the Melchizedek schools, for the order of Melchizedeks in Nebadon is re-owned throughout all Splendon. And Splendon is also Splendon is U major, the fifth, and is the headquarters of our major sector, which is known as Splendon, is so Splendon is our major sector, and U major, the fifth, is the headquarters of Splendon. For special work of the Melchizedeks, a highly specialized branch of Melchizedek activities has to do with the supervision of the progressive Urantia career of the ascending mortals. Such of this training is conducted by the patient and wise seraphic ministers, assisted by mortals who have ascended to relatively higher levels of universe attainment. But all of this educational work is under the general supervision of the Melchizedeks in association with the Trinity Teacher Sons. While the Melchizedek orders are chiefly devoted to the vast educational system and experiential training regime of the local universe, they also function in unique assignments and in unusual circumstances. in an evolving universe eventually embracing approximately 10 million inhabited worlds. When, not when, many things um, out of the ordinary are destined to happen, and it is in such emergencies that the Melchizedeks act. On Edensia, your constellation headquarters, and our constellation's name is Norlatia Dek, they are known as emergency sons. They are always ready to serve in all exigencies, physical, intellectual, or spiritual, whether on a planet, in a system, in a constellation, or in the universe. Whenever and wherever special help is needed, there you will find one or more of the Melchizedek sons. When failure of some feature of the Creator Son's plan is threatened, forthwith will go a Melchizedek to render assistance, but not often are they summoned to function in the presence of sinful rebellion, such as occurred in Satania, which is Urantia's system headquarters. The Melchizedeks are the first to act in all emergencies of whatever nature on all worlds where will creatures dwell. They sometimes act as temporary custodians on wayward planets, serving as receivers of a defaulting planetary government. In a planetary crisis, these Melchizedek sons serve in many unique capacities. It is easily possible for such a son to make himself visible to mortal beings, and sometimes one of this order has even incarnated in the likeness of mortal flesh. 7 times in Nebadon has a Melchizedek served on an evolutionary world in the similitude of mortal flesh, and on numerous occasions these sons have appeared in the likeness of other orders of universe creatures. They are indeed the versatile and volunteer emergency ministers to all orders of universe intelligences, and to all the worlds and systems of worlds. The Melchizedek who lived on Urantia during the time of Abraham was locally known as Prince of Salem because he presided over a small colony of truth seekers residing at a place called Salem. So there is a place called Salem. So again, Salem means peace. He volunteered to incarnate in the likeness of mortal flesh, and did so with the approval of the Melchizedek receivers of the planet, who feared that the light of life would become extinguished during that period of increasing spiritual darkness, and he did foster the truth of his day and safely passed it on to Abraham and his associates. Then we have number 5, the Vorondadek sons. After the creation of the personal aids and the first group of the versatile Melchizedeks, the Creator Son and the local universe creative Mother Spirit planned for and brought into existence the second great and diverse order of universe sonship, the Vorondadeks. They are more generally known as constellation fathers, because a son of this order is uniformly found at the head of each constellation government in every local universe. The number of Foronda decks varies in each local universe. Just 1 million being just 1 million being the record number in Nebadon. These sons, like their coordinates, the Melchizedeks, possess no power of reproduction. There exists no known method whereby they can increase their numbers. In many respects, these sons are a self-governing body as individuals and as groups, even as a whole. They are largely self-determinative, much as are the Melchizedeks. But Foronda decks do not function through such a wide range of activities. They do not equal their Melchizedek brethren in brilliant versatility, but they are even more reliable and efficient as rulers and far-seeing administrators. Neither are they quite the administrative peers of their subordinates. The Lanonandek system sovereigns, but they excel all orders of universe sonship, in stability of purpose and in divinity of judgment. Although the decisions and rulings of this order of sons are always in accordance with the spirit of divine sonship and in harmony with the policies of the Creator Son, they have been cited for error to the Creator Son, and in the details of technique their decisions have sometimes been reversed on appeal to the tales of technique. Their decisions have sometimes been reversed on appeal to the superior tribunals of the universe. But these sons rarely fall into error, and they have never gone into rebellion. Never in all the history of Nebadon has a Foronda deck been found in contempt of the universe government. The surface of the Foronda decks in the local universes is extensive and varied. They serve, as ambassadors to other universes and as consuls representing constellations within their native universe. And it's funny that we on Earth have such names too, the consul of this and this nation. Of all orders of local universe sonship, they are the most often entrusted with the full delegation of sovereign powers to be exercised in critical universe situations. On those worlds segregated in spiritual darkness, those spheres which have, through rebellion and default, suffered planetary isolation, an observer for Foronda deck is usually present pending the restoration of normal status. In certain emergencies, this most high observer could exercise absolute and arbitrary authority over every celestial being assigned to that planet. It is of record on Salvington that the Foronda decks have sometimes exercised such authority as most high regents of such planets. And this has also been true even of inhabited worlds that were untouched by rebellion. Often a corpse of 12 or more Vorondadek sons sits and often a corpse of 12 or more Vorondadek sons sits on an bank. It is actually, I think, French. En bank, but let it keep us English. En bank, as a high court of review and appeal concerning special cases involving the status of a planet or a system, but their work more largely pertains to the legislative functions indigenous to the constellation governments. As a result of all these services, the Vorondadek sons have become the historians of the local universes. They are personally familiar with all the political struggles and the social upheavals of the inhabited worlds. So this means that this world, Urantia, the Vorondadek sons are knowing about the political struggles and social upheavals that are taking place for a far too long time in this world Urantia. So they know what is going on here. Then we have point 6, the constellation fathers. I think this is quite a long chapter. Yeah. And I want to say something. Lucifer was a Lanonandek son. And the Lanonandeks, they have a bit more history of errors. Point 6, the constellation fathers. At least 3 Vorondadeks are assigned to the rulership of each of the 100 constellations of a local universe. These sons are elected by the Creator Son and are commissioned by Gabriel as the most highs of the constellation. We are also oftentimes calling God the Father the Most High, but it's actually incorrect, and so I will change the name of the YouTube channel, The Most High Teaches to You, into another title, because now I know better, because of this information, that the Most Highs is something else than what we think. So again, these sons are selected by the Creator Son and are commissioned by Gabriel as the Most Highs. And this is plural because it's they are free. They are formed by 3 Vorondadek sons, so that's why it's plural. As the Most Highs of the constellations for service during 1 decamillennium, which means 10,000 years standard, so standard years, about 50,000 years of Urantia time. The reigning Most High, the constellation father. So if we call God Most High, what we actually are referring to is constellation father, and we see then God as the constellation father. So that is why we need this background in-depth information, so we can clear what we have learned in this world, and that we can clear ourselves from all the things that have been taught to us. And now you get a deeper understanding of like, oh, wait a minute, God is not a Most High. God is the Paradise Father, and the Most High is a constellation father, is a Veranderdek son. And that's a bit different, because the Veranderdek son is a creation of the Paradise Creator Son Michael and its creative universe Mother Spirit, or local universe Mother Spirit. So the constellation father, has two associates, a senior and a junior. At each change of administration, the senior associate becomes the head of the government. The junior assumes the duties of the senior, while the unassigned Veranderdeks resident on the Selfington worlds nominate one of their number as candidate for selection to assume the responsibilities of junior associate. Thus, each of the Most High rulers, in accordance with present policy, has a period of service on the headquarters of a constellation of 3 decamillenniums. So this means about 150,000 Urantia years. The 100 constellation fathers, the actual presiding heads of the constellation governments, constitute the supreme advisory cabinet of the Creator Son. This council is in frequent session at universe headquarters and is unlimited in the scope and range of its deliberations, but is chiefly concerned with the welfare of the constellations and with the unification of the administration of the entire local universe. When a constellation father is in attendance upon duties at the universe headquarters, as he frequently is, the senior associate becomes acting director of constellation affairs. The normal function of the senior associate is the oversight of spiritual affairs, while the junior associate is personally occupied with side of wait a minute. The normal function of the senior associate is the oversight of spiritual affairs, while the junior associate is personally occupied with the physical welfare of the constellation. No major policy, however, is ever carried out in a constellation unless all three of the Most Highs are agreed upon all the details of its execution. The entire mechanism of spirit intelligence and communication channels is at the disposal of the constellation Most Highs. They are in perfect touch with their supervisors on Selfington and with their direct subordinates, the sovereigns of the local systems. They frequently convene in council with these system sovereigns, and these system sovereigns are the Lanonandeks, to deliberate upon the state of the constellation. The Most Highs surround themselves with a corps of counselors, which varies in number and personnel from time to time in accordance with the presence of the various groups at constellation headquarters, and also as the local requirements vary. During times of stress, they may ask for and will quickly receive additional sons of the Foronda deck order to assist with the administrative work. Norlatia deck, your own constellation, is at present administered by 12 Foronda deck sons. Then point 7, the Foronda deck worlds. The second group of 7 worlds in the circuit of 70 primary spheres surrounding Selfington comprise the Foronda deck planets. Each of these spheres with its 6 encircling satellites is devoted to a special phase of Foronda deck activities. On these 49 realms, the ascending mortals secure the acme of their education, respecting universe legislation. The ascending mortals have observed the legislative assemblies as they functioned on the headquarters worlds of the constellations, but here on these wait a minute, sometimes but here on these Foronda deck worlds, they participate in the enactment of the actual general legislation of the local universe under the tutelage of the senior Foronda decks. Such enactments are designed to coordinate the varied pronouncements of the autonomous legislative assemblies of the 100 constellations. The instructions to be had in the Foronda deck schools is unexcellent even on Uversa. This training is progressive, extending from the first sphere with supplemental work on its 6 satellites on up through the remaining 6 primary spheres and their associated satellite groups. The ascending pilgrims will be introduced to numerous new activities on these worlds of study and practical work. We are not forbidden to undertake the revelation of these new and undreamed of pursuits, but we despair of being able to portray these undertakings to the material mind of mortal beings. We are without words to convey the meaning of these supernal activities, and there are no analogous human engagements which might be utilized as illustrations of these new occupations of the ascending mortals as they pursue their studies on these 49 worlds and many other activities not a part of the ascending regime are centered on these Foronda deck worlds of the Selfington circuit. And then 8, the Lanonandek Sons. After the creation of the Foronda decks, the Creator Son and the Universe Mother Spirit unite for the purpose of bringing into existence the third order of universe sonship, the Lanonandeks. although occupied with varied tasks connected with the system administrations. They are best known as system sovereigns, the rulers of the local systems, and as planetary princes, the administrative heads of the inhabited worlds. Being a later and lower, as concerns divinity levels, order of sonship, creation, these beings were required to pass through certain courses of training on the Melchizedek worlds in preparation for subsequent service. They are the first students in the Melchizedek University and were classified and certified by their Melchizedek teachers and examiners according to ability, personality, and attainment. The universe of Nebadon began its existence with exactly 12 million Lanonondecs, and when they had passed through the Melchizedek sphere, they were divided in the final tests into 3 classes. 1. Primary Lanonondecs. Of the highest rank, they were 709,841. These are the sons designated as system sovereigns and assistants to the supreme councils of the constellation and as counselors in the higher administrative work of the universe. 2 secondary Lanonondecs of this order emerging from Melchizedek. There were 10,234,601. They are assigned as planetary princes and to the reserves of that order. And then we have number 3, tertiary Lanonondecs. This group contained 1,055,558. These sons function as subordinate assistants, messengers, custodians, commissioners, observers, and prosecute the miscellaneous duties of a system and its component worlds. It is not possible, as it is with evolutionary beings, for these sons to progress from one group to another. When subjected to the Melchizedek training, when once tested and classified, they serve continuously in the rank assigned, neither once tested and classified. They serve continuously. Neither do these sons, this is the sentence, neither do these sons engage in reproduction. Their number in the universe is stationary. In round numbers, the Lanonondec order of sons is classified on Salvington as follows. Universe coordinators and constellation counselors. There are 100,000 of them. We have 600,000 system sovereigns and assistants, and then 10 million planetary princes and reserves, 400,000 messenger corps, 100,000 custodians and recorders, and 800,000 reserve corps. Since Lanonondecs are a somewhat lower order of sonship than the Melchizedeks and the Pharondadecs. They are of even greater service in the subordinate units of the universe, for they are capable of drawing nearer the lower creatures of the intelligent races. They also stand in greater danger of going astray, of departing from the acceptable technique of universe government. But these Lanonandecs, especially the primary order, are the most able and versatile of all local universe administrators. In executive ability they are excelled only by Gabriel and his unrevealed associates. And then point 9, the Lanonandec rulers. The Lanonandecs are the continuous rulers of the planets and rotating sovereigns of the systems. Such a son now rules on Jerusalem, the headquarters of your local system of inhabited worlds. The system sovereigns rule in commission of 2 or 3 on the headquarters of each system of inhabited worlds. The constellation Father names one of these Lanonandecs as chief every decamillennium. Sometimes no change in the head of the trio is made, the matter being entirely optional with the constellation rulers. System governments do not suddenly change in personnel unless a tragedy of some sort occurs. When system sovereigns or assistants are recalled, their places are filled by selections made by the Supreme Council, located on the constellation headquarters. From the reserves of that order, a group which is larger on Urantia than the average indicated. And the Garden of Eden is, the name Eden is coming from Urantia, where also the tree of life is coming from. The supreme Lanonandec councils are stationed on the various constellation headquarters. Such a body is presided over by the senior Most High's associate of the constellation Father, while the junior associate supervises the reserves of the secondary order. The system sovereigns are true to their names. They are well nigh sovereign in the local affairs of the inhabited worlds. They are almost paternal in their direction of the planetary princes, the material sons, and the ministering spirits. The personal grasp of the sovereign is all but complete. These rulers are not supervised by Trinity observers from the central universe. They are the executive division of the local universe, and as custodians of the enforcement of legislative mandates and as executives for the applications of judicial verdicts. They present the one place in all universe administration where personal disloyalty to the will of the Michael Son could most easily and readily entrench itself and seek to assert itself. Our local universe has been unfortunate in that over 700 sons of the Lanonandek order have rebelled, so that's quite an amount, against the universe government, thus precipitating confusion in several systems and on numerous planets. Of this entire number of failures, only 3 were system sovereigns. Practically all of these sons belonged to the second and third orders, planetary princes and tertiary Lanonandeks. The large number of these sons who have lapsed from integrity does not indicate any fault in creatorship. They could have been made divinely perfect, but they were so created that they might better understand and draw near to the evolutionary creatures dwelling on the worlds of time and space. Of all the local universes in Orphanton, our universe has, with the exception of Henselon, lost the largest number of this order of sons. On Uversa it is the consensus that we have had so much administrative trouble in Nebadon because our sons of the Lanonandek order have been created with such a large degree of personal liberty in choosing and planning. I do not make this observation by way of criticism. The creator of our universe has full authority and power to do this. It is the contention of our high rulers that while such free choosing sons make excessive trouble in the earlier ages of the universe, when things are fully sifted and finally settled, the gains of higher loyalty and fuller volitional service on the part of these thoroughly tested sons will far more than compensate for the confusion and tribulations of earlier times. In the event of rebellion on a system headquarters, a new sovereign is usually installed within a comparatively short time, but not so on the individual planets. They are the component units of the material creation, and creature free will is a factor in the final adjudication of all such problems. Successor planetary princes are designated for isolated worlds, planets whose princes of authority may have gone astray, but they do not assume active rulership of such worlds until the results of insurrection are partially overcome and removed by the remedial measures adopted by the Melchizedeks and other ministering personalities. Rebellion by a planetary prince instantly isolates his planet, and this has happened to Urantia. Our former planetary prince Caligastia rebelled, and because of this he has robbed all the inhabitants on Urantia from spiritual contact with all the other worlds. So we are in a spiritual quarantine. And from what I came to understand is that the entire circuitry is locked down, so to speak, is closed. But since since a short time, they slowly but surely, step by step, have reopened some parts of the circuitry, not all of them. And we know this because we do not receive universal broadcasts. If the entire circuitry of Urantia was reopened, then we would be able to receive universe broadcasts. And in the Bible it is stated that when Jesus comes back, everyone will know this. This knowing is done through the universal broadcasts. So then we get through a broadcast the information that Michael, or better known for us as Jesus, then comes back. I want to say that there are still too much people completely absorbed by this Jesus coming back mass hysteria. And I call it deliberately like this. There is in no way, shape or form a clue, a single sign that gives us this sign that Jesus is at the brink of coming back. The situation on this world, Earth, Urantia, is not yet thus far to welcome Michael / Jesus of Nazareth back again. There needs to be done first other things before this can happen, because if he comes back in full glory and power. This could mean that by the time Michael, or Christ Michael, when he comes back, that he also will become at the same time our new planetary prince. So if you read that Jesus will come back in full glory and power, this power is not a type of power that has to do with removing all evil and darkness from this world. This power has to do with something else, which has to do with rulership and a glorious type of power, not a type of power as we humans interpret power. Because how we interpret power is most of the time negative connotated. So what needs to be happen first? First, we need to get rid of the last episodes of the Lucifer rebellion. I have the idea that we are in the last stages, or also known as last contractions of the Lucifer rebellion. This could also explain that a person in the top of the top of the top of this world system has a notion that some huge changement is about to come. And this could also explain why the agendas that they first wanted to finish by 2030 are all of a sudden now placed to the front of 2027, and actually they are doing their best to have the agendas completed in this year 2025. This is all based on something, on some knowledge that a person, a being, has in the top of the top of the top of this world system. It could be that the right hand of Caligustia is still here. His name is Daligustia. And that could explain why the hurry is going on at the moment, and why they are enforcing us into ridiculous agendas that are all based on total destruction of all life forms and the replacement of life in artificial life. Technology digitalized life, which is no life at all, it's anti-life. The second phase that then probably will happen is the coming of a magisterial son. In the word magisterial, we have the word magi, which is another word of judge. So then you can say that Judgment Day first arrives. And if the magisterial son is coming, then those whom are at sleep in the in a section of the mentioned world, first mentioned world, they will be reawakened. That is what the resurrection means. The entire resurrection explained in the Bible is so incorrect and such a fantasy story, and based on misinterpretations of the humans who could not interpret this whole idea, this concept resurrection correctly. So we are in the last phases of the rebellion. And if you start to understand that those who try, those, I call them the fallen sons and daughters of God, and not the fallen ones, but the sons and daughters of God whom are outrolling all these ridiculous evil agendas, you can see them as fallen in such a way too, because they lost track with God, they lost connection with God, and they have grown so cold-hearted in their heart, in their minds, in their soul. So then you can speak of fallen sons and daughters of God. These are rebels. And if you start to understand that these are rebels, and if you start seeing them as such, then you start the process in yourself of having compassion. And if you can see them as such, as rebels, rebelling against God the Father, then you also can let go of all the things that are happening in the world system. And then you will not be so absorbed by it, because you now get a better understanding of what is truly going on, and that what they are doing is trying to fulfill the plans of Lucifer in their way as they seem fit. And as we all can see, they are in a tremendous hurry. Well, let them be in a tremendous hurry. The more they hurry, the more they stagnate themselves, because the more obstacles they bring on their path. And the bigger, well, better said, and the greater the chances of delay in their plans, which gives space to the rest of God's children to come back to God, yeah, and to accept themselves as a child of God, to accept sonship in God, and the more these rebellionists are in a hurry, the better, because then the more people can wake up to their true identity and can wake up to the true understanding of what is really going on, instead of guessing and interpreting things based on how the human brain interprets situations and reality. Rebellion by a planetary prince instantly isolates his planet. The local spiritual circuits are immediately severed. Only a bestowal son can re-establish interplanetary lines of communication on such a spiritually isolated world. So this is also the reason why Michael came to Urantia to re-establish this interplanetary lines of communication. This explains this also explains why there are so many people experiencing extraordinary events and things that the majority still cannot see or experience. Seeing certain creatures, seeing things that are for the majority of humanity not yet normal, so to speak. There exists a plan for saving these wayward and unwise sons, and many have availed themselves of this merciful provision, but never again may they function in those positions wherein they defaulted. After rehabilitation, they are assigned to custodial duties and to departments of physical administration. Then the last point, number 10, the Lanonandek worlds, the third group of 7 worlds in the Selfington circuit of 70 planets, with their respective 42 satellites, constitute the Lanonandek cluster of administrative spheres. On these realms, the experienced Lanonandeks belonging to the X system, sovereign corps, officiate as administrative teachers of the ascending pilgrims and the seraphic hosts. Well, they become this after their long journey of rehabilitation. So what I want to say too and point out in this is that we need to understand the real history about the Lucifer rebellion. On the YouTube channel, the Most High teaches to you, but there is also another channel on YouTube called Welcome to Urantia. There you find audio videos about the Lucifer rebellion and the problems after the Lucifer rebellion. And many people are more interested in the last audio video that is all about the problems after no, the problems of the Lucifer rebellion, then getting to know the real background of the entire Lucifer rebellion. It is as if humanity thinks that they already know everything about Lucifer. But what the majority of humans know about Lucifer is incorrect, and does not give the full picture of whom Lucifer was and what he did. So again, humanity has made their own interpretations based on their level of understanding of whom Lucifer is. Then they themselves, humanity, created a whole story around Lucifer that is actually incorrect. So please go to this audio video about the Lucifer rebellion and start to understand what Lucifer actually has done and why, and what the main reason of his rebellion was, and where this was rooted in. It was not only pride only. Yes, pride played a huge role in the fall of Lucifer, but he also did hate Michael, and he had something against Gabriel. So please listen to this audio video about the Lucifer rebellion and start to correct your understanding about the Lucifer rebellion and what Lucifer has done, and get an in-depth understanding of the background. This is very important, because then you start to understand why the things are happening as they are happening right now in this world system. The evolutionary mortals observe the system administrators at work on the system capitals, but here they participate in the actual coordination of the administrative pronouncements of the 10,000 local systems. These administrative schools of the local universe are supervised by a corps of Lanonandic sons, who have had long experience as system sovereigns and as constellation counselors. These executive colleges are excelled only by the administrative schools of Ensa, while serving as training spheres for ascending mortals. And I will look up about Ensa. Ensa. Ensa is the U minor, the third, the headquarters of your, or better said, our minor sector is called Ensa, and is surrounded by the 7 spheres of the higher physical studies of the ascendant life. So then you know a bit more about Ensa. While serving as training spheres for ascending mortals, the Lanonandic worlds are the centers for extensive undertakings having to do with the normal and routine administrative operations of the universe. All the way in the paradise, the ascending pilgrims pursue their studies in the practical schools of applied knowledge, actual training in really doing the things they are being taught. The universe educational system sponsored by the Melchizedeks is practical, progressive, meaningful, and experiential. It embraces training in things material, intellectual, morontial, and spiritual. It is in connection with these administrative spheres of the Lanonandeks that most of the selfish sons of that order serve as custodians and directors of planetary affairs. And these defaulting planetary princes and their associates in rebellion who choose to accept the proffered rehabilitation will continue to serve in these routine capacities at least until the universe of Nebadon is settled in light and life. And this is the actual goal of Michael, to have the entire local universe and all of its constellations, spheres, planets, worlds into light and life. And you can say that the ascension journey we all are going through, and notice that the ascension journey is by free will choice done journey. So it is something that you are by free will choose to go through. It is not something you need to do. It is all based on your own soul desire to go into this ascension journey. And you can say that the world you are now living in is the first world of your ascension journey, in which you can experience what it is to be immortal and to live a mortal life. And also to make the decision if you want to go further in your ascension journey, yes or no. So it is something that you choose by an intense soul desire. If you choose for this by intense soul desire, you actually have said to your soul and your soul to you that it will be saved and how do I say this? Survive. So if you want to guarantee survival of your soul, then you can choose this from an intense soul desire to go further with your ascension journey. Those of you who are coming to the Most High Teaches to You channel or the Welcome to Urantia channel, your soul has guided you to one of these channels where you find these audio videos that gives you this information. Your soul has guided you to this information, this fifth epical revelation presented to you in audio video format. And that is why I am doing what I'm doing, because I, in this way, am helping my brethren. and so am helping the children of God to come in connection with the fifth epochal revelation, so that they can start the preparation for the next step on their path of ascension. So those of you whom are listening to these audio videos, your soul wants this. Your soul hungers and thirsts for this information, because your soul wants to survive. So keep this very much in mind. You are never just coincidentally guided to a certain source of information. This guidance is not only done through your soul, but also done through the thought adjuster that is in you. The thought adjuster is the God the Father fragment in us that leads you also to channels such as the Most High teaches you, or Welcome to Urantia, who contain information that is valuable to absorb. So know this. And those who come to these channels are often people that are constantly searching for higher spiritual truths. Many of the Lanonandek sons in the older systems, however, have established wonderful records of service, administration, and spiritual achievements. They are a noble, faithful, and loyal group, notwithstanding their tendency to fall into error through fallacies of personal liberty and fictions of self-determination. So with this said, we get here a lesson, what happens if you make errors through fallacies of personal liberty and fictions of self-determination. That will also be your downfall. And with this said, I have come to the end of paper 35, a very interesting paper. There's much information in it, and it gives a huge background information about the local universe sons of God, and also about another level of how this local universe is built up. This information has been given to us by the chief of archangels, acting by authority of Gabriel of Selfington. With this said, you now see and notice that the entire fifth epochal revelation in the format presented to us as a book, known as the Urantia book, is not by man written book. Through a special technique, this information has come onto Earth / Urantia. Some people have doubts with this book, but it is clearly stated that it is done through a special technique. For a special technique, this information came to Earth in the year 1932, and after the Second World War in 1955, they decided to bring it into book form onto the market, so to speak, and thus to the people, to the children of God. I have now read, I think, more than 40 papers. You could see them as chapters, and I have not noticed any human frequency in this book. Not a moment. And I have a very sensitive sensors for these things, and if I read the Bible, I can clearly read and observe and am aware of the different handwritings of different humans. And I clearly can observe and be aware and also recognize a lot of confusion that is placed in the Bible. In this book, there is no such thing the case. This book does not have any forms of confusion. It is plain and it is very clear. Because it's not written by man. The Bible is written by man, and this is something that people do not want to acknowledge. Of course not, I would say, because if you have to acknowledge that you are reading almost on daily basis a by man written and also by man self-declared holy book, then your entire foundation is crumbling. And that is something the majority of believers do not like to go through, and do not like to see that their entire foundation starts to crumble down. If they would acknowledge that the Bible is a by man written book. What surprises me is that not many believers observe and are aware of the many confusions instigated in the Bible and misdirections. The Bible still contains some valuable information. The texts, also known as scriptures, quoted in the Urantia book are only those of which Jesus knew that they contain higher spiritual truths in them. There are almost 1,200 scriptures quoted who contain higher spiritual truths. So if you read the Bible, you need to read this with an utter state of discernment and a loop, so you can sift all the incorrections and confusions out of it. And that what is left, which is not that much, but that what is left is that what is more reliable and contains a more higher spiritual truth. So and I do not understand how people can so easily go along with this simplistic creational story in the book of Genesis. If you know that the Urantia book has two sections, one section based only on the central and super universes, and then one section completely based on the background of the building up of this local universe that we are part of. So and there are many other things. The entire story about Adam and Eve, if you lay it next to the story that is being told in Urantia book, then you must come to the conclusion that the story in the Bible is very childlike and misses so much in-depth understanding and background, and because of the fact that the story about Adam and Eve is so childlike, the danger of this is that people get a complete wrong impression about this couple. And there are so many people who are finger pointing to Eve as the one that is guilty. But they both were falling prey to their own impatience. But you only can know this if you are having a huge hunger and thirst for higher spiritual truths. And if you are not someone that is easily satisfied with simple kitchen table stories. And thankfully, I am not a person that is easily satisfied. And thankfully, all those people whom received the Urantia book on their path are people whom are not easily satisfied and are constantly questioning things, and whom are searching for higher spiritual truths because they have this intense hunger and thirst for it. All right, with this said, I am so thankful that you have listened to this audio video. I wish you all a beautiful, joyful, loving day, and that all the things that come out of your hands will be fruitful and uplifting for this world, for your brethren and yourself. And God bless you.